Everybody's in lockdown. I have a subpoena.
Paper Empire.
Tim Walz just made the admission that could end his political career forever. After weeks of Democrats denying massive fraud in Minnesota, Walz slipped up and confessed on camera. Did we have some people steal from us? Yes. $19 billion stolen from American taxpayers, and now both Walz and Attorney General Keith Ellison have been dragged before Congress with subpoenas. This isn't just about Minnesota anymore. It's about a pattern of corruption that reaches the highest levels of the Democrat Party. We're talking about $19 billion of your tax money that vanished into thin air while Walz, Ellison, even Ilhan Omar turned a blind eye. The House Oversight Committee is demanding answers on March 4th. But here's what really matters. If they can steal $19 billion in one state and cover it up for months, what are they stealing nationwide? Well, President Trump has already issued a warning. His administration will investigate every dollar and prosecute everyone responsible. This could be the scandal that finally exposes the Democrat machine's systematic looting of America. Speaking of national security threats, there's something that every American needs to understand about what is happening right now. Yes, we have some breaking news. On January 5th, 2026, the U.S. Department of Energy announced $2.7 billion in contracts to restore domestic uranium enrichment capabilities. This is not just government spending, it's a declaration of intent. America needs uranium, domestic uranium, and it needs it now. The U.S. consumes 50 million pounds of uranium annually, but produces less than 5% domestically. We're dangerously dependent on foreign sources, including Russia and China. The Democrats were busy stealing billions in Minnesota. Smart investors recognize the uranium crisis. And that's where Atomic Minerals comes in. They're positioned at the center of America's uranium renaissance, with strategic properties in proven mining districts. The Department of Energy contracts prove this is not speculation anymore, it's national policy. America First means energy independence, and uranium is the foundation of that independence. Visit the link down below for your exclusive briefing and be part of America's energy future. Because while Democrats steal from taxpayers, real Americans invest in American strength. We thank them for sponsoring this program. But here is the twist that should terrify every single Democrat. President Trump isn't just talking about investigating this fraud. He's promising to find out exactly who did it and where every stolen dollar went. The connections run deep. Ilhan Omar's fingerprints are all over the legislation that enabled this theft. Keith Ellison took donations after meeting with criminals. And now Trump's team has the power to follow the money trail wherever it leads. Here's FBI Director Kash Patel on the monumental fraud in Minnesota. With President Trump's leadership, he's been on this since day one. Check this out.
How long has the FBI under President Trump been on this?
With President Trump's leadership, he's been on this since day one. And let me rewind you back to the spring or summer of last year where I was on the ground in Minnesota myself. And I know you and your viewers care, as we do, deeply about protecting our children. And the first place we started, the FBI that is what we call with this program, Feeding Our Futures. And we discovered a monumental fraud in Minnesota where individuals in the community and outside the community were fleecing the government for hundreds of millions of dollars. And last summer, we arrested, with our partners at DOJ, 75 individuals pursuant to federal indictments. So that was some of the work that catapulted us into this large-scale fraud investigation that has now captured the nation, and we have not stopped. We've been there since day one, and we're going to continue until we meet it all out, and we've surged resources in Minnesota to make sure that no one swipes money from children or any other American, and no government official, if any participated in this, will be apprehended.
Did your predecessor, we know Chris Wray of the Biden administration, was he looking into this?
I can't speak for my predecessor. I can just tell you the work we've done under President Trump, which is historic levels of reduction in crime across the country. And that includes fraud, not just in Minnesota, but around the country. And it includes heavily investigating and following public corruption for those in elected office that break the law to rob America of their taxpayer dollars.
I want you to listen to this for a moment. This is Governor Tim Walz. He has said, that he was cheated. He has admitted that fraud took place, but he's trying to have it both ways. This is him on, I guess, what they call MS Now. Listen to this.
You mentioned this fraud investigation and the reason that they're here. Is there anything you think, when you look back, you could have done differently to prevent them from showing up and doing what they're doing here?
No, they were coming anyway. It was all make-believe that we'd been at it. Every state had this.
I mean, what we're seeing in Minnesota seems unique, or is it make-believe and this is happening in every state and jurisdiction?
Well, thankfully, every state does not have this problem. I don't have another statistic to give you where we arrested 75 individuals in one summer for hundreds of millions of dollars of fraud related to a program that's supposed to feed malnourished children in underprivileged families. So I don't know what he's talking about. That's pushing it under the rug. And also, a fraud of this size, there should be state and local authorities alerting the FBI early on and participating in our investigation. We went up there and did it with the federal authorities and the DOJ. And we've continued to ask those in Minnesota and around the country of any information on this to let us know, because this investigation is not over. The size of the fraud continues to be exposed, and there will be more arrests coming.
Final question on this. A DHS source has told us that they have located $700 million in bulk cash by Somali couriers going through the Minnesota airport. By way of comparison, just $3 to $4 million goes per year through JFK and DFW. That number was over a 2-year period. Is this something that you're looking into, or is this solely in DHS's purview?
This is in DHS's purview, but of course, like any great interagency partnership, Secretary Noam and I and Tom Oman have a great partnership, and we're going to continue to collect information, and whether it falls into their lane of investigation or ours, we're going to make sure we put the resources necessary to expose those involved.
All the cash just flowing through the airports. Kash Patel. This is how the FBI revelation triggers a volcanic response from Trump himself. He's about to unleash on Walz like never before. President Trump just eviscerated Tim Walz after $9 billion in fraud was exposed. Here's what he had to say in North Carolina.
But think of that. In Minnesota, this beautiful place, once beautiful, I don't call it beautiful. You got a governor who's a stupid person. And he's corrupt and stupid. But he allowed this to go on. He allowed this to go on. Everybody knew what was going on. But what nobody knew is over $9 billion. And the people of Minnesota are not happy. And you know who's running for governor? Mike Lindell. Do we like Mike Lindell? That man suffered. That man suffered. What he did, what he went through, because he knew the election was rigged. And he did it. He didn't, I mean.
Mike Lindell running for governor in Minnesota. He put it all on the line, too. Trump's fury is only the beginning. Investigators are now launching formal probes with serious allegations about what Walz knew and when he knew it. Brandon Gill, one of them, launching an investigation into Walz over years of alleged knowledge about massive Somaliland fraud in Minnesota. Gill says Walz knew from the start and let it continue for nearly a decade, while taxpayers were drained and Democrats enriched.
Walz knew about this fraud in Minnesota since the day he came into office as governor. He's known about this for a decade or so. And Democrats had sort of an implicit deal with the Somali community there, that they were going to turn the other way, allow these Somali immigrants to defraud American taxpayers to the tune of billions and billions of dollars. And in exchange, they expected that Somali community to vote monolithically for Democrats. It was kind of a Faustian bargain that Democrats have been doing for a long time, and in many other places too. So what we want to do is bring Tim Walz in and Keith Ellison and ask them, what exactly did you know? And when did you know about this fraud? And how did you know about this fraud? And why didn't you do anything to stop it? And I think that's something that the American people want to know as well.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we certainly do. And we look forward to that day. The investigation claims to get more explosive when you see the raw and filtered reaction flooding social media about this Somali fraud connection. Oh, guys, buckle up. You're going to love this. This has been trending. Somali Walz, a hilarious truth bomb. Are you guys ready for this? This is so funny. Enjoy the roast because it's all true. Watch this. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. The Somali Walz.
Mogadishu Minnesota, you might have heard there's quite a load of money missing, new millionaires, all the kids are leering in fake daycares. The Somali waltz, the Somali waltz, it's the same old song. The Somali waltz is sad but true. They're screwing you, dancing to the Somali waltz. Play your cards right, you could be governor. And if you need a green card, marry your brother. With liberal judges on the take, there's no fear of justice while they shimmy and they shake. The Somali waltz, the Somali waltz, it's the same old song. The Somali waltz is sad but true. They're screwing you, dancing to the Somali waltz. The Somali waltz, the Somali waltz, it's the same old song, and it's going strong. It's sad but true. They're screwing you, dancing to the Somali waltz. And coming soon to a state near you, new name same tune, the Somali waltz.
Tell me that was not priceless. Oh, yeah. Social media on fire, but here's where it gets real. Trump isn't just tweeting, he's making direct threats about consequences and investigations. President Trump issuing a warning to Governor Tim Walz over the federal tax dollars. He says authorities are investigating who was responsible and where it went. This is at the premiere of the Melania documentary that our friend Michael Alfaro was at on the red carpet. This was at the Trump Kennedy Center over the weekend.
Mr. Homan, I'm sure you caught his remarks earlier today that he made in Minneapolis. Are you pleased with the job that he's doing? Do you feel that this change that you made, this personnel change, is an important one in terms of calming things down?
Well, I think he's terrific, but we have to get rid of the criminals. We have to take criminals out of our country. So from that standpoint, nothing's going to change. And we have to find out all of the fraud that's taken place in Minnesota. We have to get to it. They've stolen at least $19 billion, and we're going to find out who did it and where the money is.
We're going to find out who did it, where the money is, baby. Let's go. Trump's warning just became a reality. Subpoenas are now flying. Both Walz and Ellison are being dragged before Congress. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Ellison have been subpoenaed. They're going to be performing before the House Oversight Committee on March 4th.
Under the nose of Ilhan Omar, Tim Walz, Attorney General Keith Ellison. We see a web of connections between them and those directly involved in the fraud. For example, Ilhan Omar alleged enabling introducing the 2020 Meals Act, which was ultimately subject to fraud. Held a campaign victory party at the Safari restaurant. That's where one of the men who run that restaurant has associations to the convicted individuals. And then there's Tim Walz. House Oversight investigation role in his role as governor. Or Keith Ellison, the Attorney General. His job is to enforce the law in Minnesota, but instead he's getting donations after meeting with the Feeding Our Future representatives. The Feeding Our Future, the biggest known yet part of this entire theft ring. The executive director of Black Lives Matter, by the way, over in Oklahoma City, has now been charged with wire fraud and money laundering. The organization raised more than $5 million in 2020, but she is accused of pocketing more than half of that instead of using it to bail out people for protesting in support of BLM. No, she pocketed, allegedly, most of that money. Oh, by the way, here she is. You want to see a picture of her? Here she is. Notice who she's in the picture with.
Oh, my God.
That's right. Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. But hey, it's just the system, right? Let's bring in our spotlight.
Wow. There are no coincidences in Washington, D.C. No, sir. The subpoenas just got validated in the most damning way. Walz himself was about to admit that there was actually fraud on his watch.
You're seeing what they're doing to us on the streets, but they are doing the same thing through the courts and their power of the agencies to defund all of state government, to make it, yes, we're the most generous state in the country with benefits and things like that. Did we have some people steal from us? Yes, and we put them in jail. They use it as an excuse to dismantle a progressive, functional state that's some of the highest quality of life.
Yeah, for the 90% of Somalis. So Tim Walz thought he could cover up $19 billion in theft. He thought Americans would never find out the truth, but his own confession just handed Trump's Justice Department everything they need to prosecute. March 4th isn't just a hearing date, it's a judgment day for the entire Minnesota Democrat machine. You see, the era of Democrats stealing billions while claiming moral authority is over. Trump promised to drain the swamp, and Walz just confessed to being neck deep in the muck. $19 billion stolen from hardworking Americans while Democrats lecture us about fairness and justice. The House subpoenas are only the beginning. This investigation will expose corruption that goes far beyond Minnesota. Every Democrat who enabled this theft, every official who covered it up, every politician who profited from it will face justice under Trump's administration. Do you believe that Tim Walz and Keith Ellison should face criminal prosecution for this massive fraud? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to check out the Next News merch shop for gear that shows you stand with America First Patriots fighting corruption everywhere.
The system controls information. Information control is power.
They don't want you to see this.
The truth only survives together. They don't want this shared. Share this now. You know out.